We will call this meeting of the Pinellas County Tourist Development Council to order for January 20th, 2022. Let's have roll call.
Chuck Prather, the Birchwood, St. Petersburg.
Julie Ward-Bajowski, Mayor of the Great City of Dunedin.
Doreen Moore, Travel Resort Services, TRS.
Frank Hibbard, Mayor of Clearwater.
Russ Kimball, Sharon Sankey, Clearwater Beach.
Good afternoon, everyone. Steve Hayes with Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
Michael Azos, County Attorney's Office.
Good afternoon, Mike Williams, Managing Director, Innisbrook Golf Resort.
Happy New Year, everyone. Clyde Smith, Bilmar Beach Resort, Treasure Island.
Melinda Pletcher, Commissioner for the City of St. Pete Beach, representing the Big C.
Trisha Rodriguez, the Trop Expo Tours in Clearwater Ferry.
Phil Henderson, Starlight Cruises, Clearwater, South Pasadena, and Madeira Beach.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'm glad you all knew what to do when I said roll call, because it's been so long since I've been on here, I didn't know how we did that. So I appreciate you all just jumping in. New year, new chair. It's an honor for me to be with you all. This is, of all the things that the chairman of the county commission gets to do, this is the plum assignment. This is something that we all look forward to, primarily because we know how important this industry is to the folks here in Pinellas County. So I want to thank you all for the time and effort that you put forward to serve on this board. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to our commission, and it certainly means a lot to the people of Pinellas County. As someone who grew up in Pinellas County, I always knew tourism was important, whether it was my first experience at the Aquatarium on St. Pete Beach. Those of you who've been here a long time remember the Aquatarium. To the time when I served in the Florida House of Representatives, and my first committee assignment was the House Tourism Committee. So I have a long history of working with this issue and working with folks like you. And again, I think we're going to have a great year, and I appreciate the effort that you're going to put forward to make that happen. Item number 3, we were supposed to welcome a new mayor of St. Petersburg to be a member of the TDC. I understand there's a press conference in St. Petersburg happening right now dealing with the Tampa Bay Rays, so he might be attending to that. You can read about that in the Tampa Bay Times online already, so if you want to. All right, Steve, let's get rolling. Item number 4, approval of the TDC minutes. Are there adjustments, amendments, or is there a motion to approve? We have a motion. We have a second. Further discussion. Motion by Mayor Hibbard. Second by Mr. Williams. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Show it passes unanimously. Item number 5, public comments. Do we have public comments? Thank you very much. Item number 6, our industry presentation. Mr. Hayes, want to introduce our presenters?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this afternoon, we're going to have the folks from St. Pete Clearwater International Airport give us an update of what is happening. I know on the agenda we have Tom down. Tom is actually not feeling well, and so I'm glad that he's not here. In his place, we have Jeff Klaus. I think everyone knows Jeff with Pi. And we also have Jackie Harnett, who's the president of Starmark International, which is the ad agency for the airport. So welcome.
Welcome back, Commissioner, Chair, Justice. Certainly glad to be in front of you guys today as we start another year, 2022. We try to give you guys an annual update on what's going on at the airport, what happened in the year previous, and an outlook going forward. As we stood up in front of you in years previous, we talked about great times and how the airport was setting records year over year. Actually, prior to the pandemic year in 2020, we had 8 consecutive years of setting all-time passenger records at the airport. And then, of course, we all know what happened with COVID in 2020. So we'll put some numbers there in front of you. While it wasn't a horrible year in 2020, certainly the airport performed better than most airports around the country. In 2021, if you'd asked me a year ago what my outlook was for 2021, I'd have told you we would just be fortunate to hold on to what we had. And instead, it was the exact opposite. 2021, we just saw a phenomenal year of growth, not only in passengers, but certainly in airline service. So as we go through the numbers here, again, going back 2020 finished down just 39% from, again, 2019. And then our rebound year, 2021, passenger traffic up a whopping 67% from 2020. But really the benchmark is that 2019 in which we were setting all-time passenger records. And really, if you look at that, again, down just 11%, certainly much better than the industry average and the industry as a whole. So we had some records in the month of, in the months of 2021 as well. July was our biggest month in our history, around 260,000 passengers. December 2021 was our biggest December in our history. And so a recap of the new service that I was mentioning, 11 new destinations, 2 new airlines, for a total of 65 nonstop destinations. Destinations by Allegiant that were added were Bentonville, Arkansas, Fargo, North Dakota, Little Rock, Arkansas, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Provo, Utah, Key West, Florida, Wichita, Kansas, Swoop, which is an ultra-low-cost carrier in Canada, sister company to WestJet, joining us from Toronto, and also Hamilton, a suburb of Toronto. Sun Country starting new scheduled service from Minneapolis, St. Paul. Then we had new charter service to the Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa in Atlantic City on Sun Country again. So airlines added, certainly Swoop, Canadian carrier, and Sun Country, and a lot more to come in 2022 as we've already announced 2 new destinations starting in the months of March. Akron, Canton comes on March 4th, and Clarksburg, Morgantown, West Virginia on March 11th. So again, in total, 65 cities, all nonstop, which is a record for the airport. If you haven't, as I'll leave this up there, if you haven't flown to some of these destinations, hopefully you have, and I'll be giving you a little takeaway so that as a reminder, as you're booking your summer vacations, trying to beat the heat, maybe some of these locations and destinations would appeal to you. This is something I just wanted to share with you as a whole because I get questioned a lot as to what cities with Allegiant are kind of the most popular or where people are traveling from. And as I go through this, I'll just kind of highlight the top 5. Asheville being the top one, number 1, Cincinnati being number 2, Grand Rapids being number 3, Indianapolis number 4, Knoxville number 5. Now, as I state that to you, it's not really a fair comparison because in those markets we have daily, if not double daily service, where the other cities that are listed below have less than daily service and maybe as little as twice a week frequencies. So again, it's not really comparing apples to apples, but that gives you a snapshot at least as what the top 5 are in terms of flying passengers in and out of this market. Tom wanted to share with you a little overview of our capital improvement program, that are projects that we have in the pipeline. We have a new parallel general aviation taxiway, which is providing connectivity or will provide connectivity to the old Airco property. That's about $9.2 million. A terminal apron, rehabilitation and runway taxiway conversion, which was our old runway 927 that we decommissioned. And also some hard stand projects. It's about $10 million. Relocating our new airfield electrical vault, which is about $4.2 million. Replacement of gates 7 through 11 exit lane with new technology. It's about $900,000. New cell phone lot restrooms that are being added, about $300,000. And then the biggie is future terminal expansion, around $75 million that's been secured. So quite a robust list, I think, there of capital improvement projects that you will see in the future as you come out to the airport being constructed. With that, I'm going to pass along to, already been announced, but Jackie Hartman. She is the president and CEO of Starmark, headquartered in Fort Lauderdale. Jackie?
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. We can say that until the end of January. As your communication specialist here today, we can still say that. As Jeff mentioned, we're headquartered in Florida. We've been in the travel and tourism business for over 23 years here in the state of Florida. We were originally founded in Chicago, did our first 20 years there. But you might know there are no marlin in Lake Michigan, and so the founders of the agency moved to the Sunshine State 23 years ago. So we became the agency of record for PI in February of 2021 with 3 goals. The first was to make PI famous in the local market. The second was to make PI famous with the airline industry, and as an extension of our B2C goal was to introduce PI to Latin America, South America, and the Caribbean. So we began with some discovery. You know, PI had already had a great brand and some messaging, but we did some foundational work to get the airport's messaging and brand aligned for today's traveler. We used that brand platform to get updated, and our first initiative was a B2B video that we produced both in English and in Spanish to introduce PI and all that it had to offer to new carriers. In this 3-minute video that I'm about to show, we used the Go Easy campaign, and the theme showed that our modern, small airport experience made adding a route to PI appealing. Let's take a look. There we go. Thank you.
Welcome to the best of Florida's Gulf Coast, here at St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, PIE, where your passengers go easy. Get closer to the country's #1 beaches, nightlife, and nearby theme parks with an easy, modern airport experience that travelers love. In other words, a new route through PI will have you and your passengers coming back for more. With 37 miles of sugar white sand and plenty of open space, you can see why TripAdvisor voted these the #1 beaches in the U.S. and why over 14 million people visit every year. Well, these award-winning beaches are only a 20-minute drive from PI, so your passengers can go from the airplane to the beach quicker than they can put on sunscreen. Beyond the waves and sand, there's so much more to explore within just minutes of PI. Like the more than 36,000 hotel and resort rooms, the excitement of Tampa Bay, downtown St. Petersburg, and Clearwater, the Scottish heritage of Dunedin, the sponge diving and fishing culture of Tarpon Springs, and 2 of the world's most renowned museums dedicated to the work of Chihuly and Salvador Dali. All told, these 24 charming municipalities will have your passengers making plans to visit again before they return back home. And if that's not enough excitement for you, it's less than 45 minutes to Busch Gardens or about 90 minutes to the theme parks in Orlando. Arts, culture, cuisine, nature, and adventure. PI makes a perfect arrival point for travelers who want to do it all. We've updated our U.S. Customs and Border Protection facility to make PI easier than ever for international arrivals. With close-to-the-gate baggage claim for quick pickups, friendly staff who make every trip more pleasant, and rental car facilities and parking that are practically on the ramp. It's about getting your travelers out of the airport and onto vacation more quickly. With a totally stress-free airport experience, built from the ground up to be better. PI is ready to welcome new routes, with an average per enplanement fee that's one of the lowest in Florida. And while other airports charge passengers for the use of customs and immigration facilities, at PI, it's free. Fast, friendly, easy, and more profitable for you. Welcome to a world-class destination and a world-leading airport experience. It's time to go easy at PI. Tampa Bay, the easy way.
Thank you. So next, we rolled out a multi-channel paid social media campaign that was going to attract new and existing passengers who were showing an interest in travel this year. Using the Go Easy campaign, we took the social dynamic ad product by Facebook, where we give them images and copy, and they create dynamic ads that are unique to each user. To increase the local brand awareness, we featured these ads in the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, and Sarasota areas, and our efforts brought some amazing results. We reached over 1.5 million folks and delivered above industry standard with 3 to 5 times click-through rates and engagement than the industry shared. So a really aggressive start. The video that you just saw also gave us lots of assets to use in our consumer campaign, and so we were able to do 6-second and 15-second edits of the B2B video to use for our consumers, and these ads encourage the easy travel by raising awareness of pie. We all know why we have to have 6-second videos, right? We all have the attention span of a goldfish, so we have to be fast. Oops. All right, so our goals were to raise awareness. We also looked at the organic channels, and those organic channels give us the opportunity to make the announcements and all the great news that we had about the airport, including the new routes, COVID updates, travel tips, and some upbeat posts about #AirportLife that kept us in front of folks in their social feed. We also upgraded the billboards that the airport is fortunate enough to have right outside the property to create new messaging and remind folks of what our key differentiators are, and that's nonstop flights and easygoing air travel. We created some display banners that are running on Fox and their affiliates and the digital channels to remind folks again about flying nonstop. As Jeff said, we had a great year this year with new routes, but we also celebrated a 15-year relationship with Allegiant. Took advantage of this and announced it with our local out-of-home billboard. We had the 7 new routes with the highly anticipated St. Pete Clearwater Key West route, which was promoted with paid social media and the out-of-home. And then to celebrate the new route, Pi, on the arrival of the inaugural flight on November 19th, greeted everybody with an award-winning cake that you see there on the right-hand side. It won an award from Anna Arrow as Cake of the Week. More good news, more things to celebrate. On Friday the 5th, Pi commemorated the launch of the partnership with Canada's ultra-low-cost carrier Swoop. At that inaugural flight from Toronto to St. Pete Clearwater, the first international flight since 2020, we greeted the airplane with a water cannon and another custom cake that also won Cake of the Week by Anna Arrow. She likes our sweets. All right, a trade show is a place to make a first impression, and so we upgraded all of our trade show graphics with our key visuals and our key messages so that we could lead and dominate the experience of air carriers who were attending those conferences. And in our Routes Conference of 2021, we created a custom premium that showcased the appreciation of the time attendees spend on their feet. And so appreciation for you allowing us to come and present today, we're providing everyone a pair of Pi socks, and we hope that you take a picture and tag us on Instagram at iFlyPi. So we said we wanted to make Pi famous, and we couldn't resist with this opportunity that was in our own backyard. Play that great video. Thank you.
It's a story as old as time. Man meets cardboard cutout in the stands, and the rest is history. Like so many others, the marketing team at Pi, St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, was captivated by the virtual friendship between one local Bucks fan and the Chiefs fan cutout sitting beside him during Super Bowl 55. And the team decided to make local brewery owner L.J. Gavoni's wish come true to have his new friend, Frank, come enjoy beers in St. Pete Clearwater.
What better story than this of a gentleman who had to sit next to a cardboard cutout because he couldn't sit next to somebody in person. And now that we can meet people in person, we're making that happen.
It started with a little help from Allegiant Airlines and a few of our closest cardboard friends. We continued the sensation that captured attention through social media with a VIP trip to St. Pete Clearwater for the real-life Frank, Clayton Whipple, and his family. On the plane, at arrival, around town, and sitting down for drinks with LJ, we broadcast the fun to social media fans. And a happy ending to a friendship forged in the stands.
This is a story that's more than football. It's about all the things the commonalities. And I think as Clayton and Clayton's family and my family sit here today and share some beers, we're going to find that on the surface we have these differences, but we're a lot more in common, I think, than we would have ever guessed, and that's really cool.
And after the reunion caught fire on social media, news outlets throughout the nation amplified the story. The story earned screen time in media with a unique monthly viewership of 59,509,242. Combined with social traction, that's nearly 60 million impressions for an unforgettable story at the local airport pie that made it possible. That's a win for everybody.
Well, thank you for your attention today. We're looking forward to a great 2022 that's going to meet our marketing, operations, and passenger goals and keep pie soaring. We appreciate your time. That was cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Before you all leave, we've got some questions, I think.
All right, let's do it.
Mr. Williams.
Jeff, Jackie, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
I've got 3 questions. Today, are you at full capacity, or do you have the ability to add additional flights with the current infrastructure?
Yeah, we definitely have additional capacity to be able to fill up with what we see. Hopefully, again, we can add as much service as we added in 2021 and 2022. But certainly, you saw in the capital improvement bullet points there, $75 million already been set aside for terminal development and expansion. So that is in the works.
Sure. That's wonderful. And is that $75 million, has that financing already been secured?
I believe so, yes. Through some of the money that was handed out, and not only stimulus, but money that the federal government had been earmarking for airports throughout the pandemic and because of coronavirus. And so we've secured a lot of that funding, yes, sir.
Excellent. And finally, are there airlines and routes that you are targeting to try to attract them to PI? And if so, is it possible for us to help you do that?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got quite a list of not only destinations, but airlines that we're targeting and meeting with, if you will, as you mentioned. In fact, in this next month, they have a conference, an airport airline conference, in which is kind of a speed dating event called Routes Americas, in which I'll be sitting down with at least 8, if not 15 different airlines, speaking with them one-on-one to try to entice them to fly into the destination, and certainly try to check off some of those destinations that I have on the list. So, what you all can do is basically what you're doing today, and that's by, educating everybody, opening your doors. The hotel supply capacity that we have, fantastic, and Visit St. Pete Clearwater does a fantastic job of going with us to some of those events, and certainly telling everybody the message of the destination and the success that we've had throughout the pandemic, and the fact that a lot of destinations saw people decreasing their amount of visitation, and we've seen quite the opposite. We've seen record visitation. So I appreciate your assistance, and as needed, we will reach out. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor Hibbard.
Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you. Where are we in Allegiant's pecking order as far as destinations, of all their destinations?
Great question. So Allegiant flies to about 130 airports nationwide, which is quite robust. We are second. We are the second largest airports that they serve. Las Vegas is number 3. Orlando Sanford is number 1. But we surpassed Las Vegas in the last year, and we are now number 2.
Which is their home base, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is their headquarters, correct.
Is there ever a chance that an airline that is at Tampa would also co-locate at PI, or is that unheard of?
No, it's not unheard of. In fact, as I mentioned with Sun Country actually is serving today nonstop service to Minneapolis, like they're offering out of St. Pete Clearwater. So it's an interesting challenge, if you will, to some degree, because as marketing effort, of course, a lot of us know that there are 2 airports within a destination, but it's difficult to make the average consumer understand that they're flying in and out of St. Pete Clearwater and not Tampa International, and vice versa. So that presents a bit of a challenge when that happens.
Any other questions? What's the obstacle when you sit down and meet with those hopefully eight potential partners? What's the obstacle? I mean, it's not the cost. Obviously, we're significantly lower in cost for them. So what is, I mean, is it just the name, or is it that it's the second airport in a destination area, or what's the obstacle?
I would say the biggest obstacle is really just their own risk, so everybody's risk adverse because it's extremely expensive and costly for an airline if they don't get it right. So as much as we can do, both Visit St. Pete Clearwater and us as an airport, on a marketing side to help them with their startup costs and advertising and marketing the service. But it's really that airlines inherently are risk adverse, and rightfully so, because it's very expensive, as I said, to get it wrong.
Sure.
So
it's more the actual destination of the entire Tampa Bay destination rather than they're coming and selecting Tampa versus Pi.
100%. Yes. So we there's a lot of work that goes into providing them with data and information to convince them that they're making that right decision and that it is going to be a home run and not something that's a failure. So again, it takes many years, as a lot of times it does. And when we do get success stories, for instance, with Swoop Airlines, as Steve can share with you, that did not happen overnight. That took us a long time of having several meetings and dialogue with them and convincing them that they were going to be successful if they flew in and out of St. Pete Clearwater International Airport.
And I seem to remember, it's been a few years since I was on this board, but that Indianapolis was at that point somewhere we were just putting money into, kind of, after our traditional New York, Chicago. And then I saw Indianapolis up there as, pretty high up on there. So I'm assuming that we have a healthy conversation between our CVB and our PI folks, and now that we've co-located administrators, county assistant administrator, all that communication hopefully is even better, correct?
Absolutely. It's all good.
Anyone else? We really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, guys. And again, a year ago, I had headed up a committee and a selection committee in which we were out on the street for an advertising agency. Leroy Bridges was one of those committee members that served on that as well. And I think hopefully what you saw today is the start of more good things to come. This is just their first year of a 5-year contract. So we are very pleased with Starmark. So
sounds good.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
We're honored to be here. Thank you.
So we have some socks that we
got
promised
socks.
to hand out to you. So thank you.
I'll take this side of the room.
Next on our agenda is Elite Event Guidelines Review. Mr. Hayes, take us away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I could go to that, I did want to follow up a little bit with the airport. I enjoy working with the team out there. One, there's, I think, no greater satisfaction than the development of this business and the hearing an airline say yes, but to know all the backstory in order to get them to say yes. You would think it's pretty easy, but there's, the team that helps make that decision is really into the data. And when you can show all that appropriate stuff like we've been able to do working with them, it certainly helps. The other aspect to that is when, there's other things that come into play. Speaking of it, one of the airlines, I think, Pi was, thank you, sir, was definitely at the forefront. However, they decided to go with a bigger airport, which was, again, contrary to what they originally said. But the team did everything possible to get the business. So the fact that we're number 2, especially with Allegiant, is fantastic. The fact we've got a Canadian carrier back is fantastic. And we're supportive in any way we can of that effort, because I know at the end of the day, it's going to benefit all of us. So great job for the team out at Pi. All right, for Elite Event Guideline, and I call it the discussion because I think really the one last thing that we had not really talked about ended up being around the attendance and the room nights. And this body asked for us to come back and look at that. But I think one of the first things I wanted to do was basically say there's a red line document that basically has every change we've talked about at this point. Michael did a great job of summing up everything from the last meeting, plus what we discussed at the previous meeting. So I wanted to throw that out there one time, and then basically sum everything up with one page, just to hit the major highlights. And on that page, and the title of it being Major Changes to Elite Event Guidelines, really there were two areas. One was the funding categories and eligibility, and one was the process and review. Under the categories and eligibility, a couple of key things that were brought out of this. Again, I'm just kind of recapping for, again, the meeting we had last time, because again, there was such rich discussion. Thank you, sir. One was under Category 1, we extended national broadcast to include streaming and other platforms. Because in today's world, it's like you got a great, if I don't know what shows you've been watched today, but there's the show 1886, but it's only on streaming. You can't get it on any other channel, but yet its audience is huge. So what other things are like that where we might have a presence? So we've added language to that. Because of all of the discussion around cultural heritage, we removed that title and basically named it Category 4. Created a fifth category, which would be for new first-time events to Pinellas County. And then we looked at the funding level of Category 1, and we went with the maximum funding eligibility up to $200,000. When it comes down to the attendance and the room nights, as I was telling Michael earlier, after many beers, a couple of bourbons, and looking at the data, did I really come up with the information that's here? And it is based on factual data. And so if you look at Category 1, previously our metric was 50,000 people and 25,000 room nights. And my open for discussion, but my suggestion would be is looking at keeping the attendance at 50,000, but generates 15,000 in room nights. And how I got to the room night aspect is take several different things. One is to go through and look at the attendance numbers. And we received that information from the event organizer. Now, and that event organizer will tell us, here's what it is, and this information goes to our research company. And really, we get it two ways. We get it, it's a ticketed event. And so, I pay to go to XYZ event, I sold X amount of tickets, there's what your attendance was. The second one is an estimate from the event organizer of which they may receive from local law enforcement. There may be other folks that they work with to get that number. So that's one basis point. Then go through and look at the data set of looking at party size, length of stay, and percent that stayed overnight. So really to go through and sum it up is, so as an example, if you take the 50,000 attendance for a Category 1 event, and the three metrics, one is on party size of 2.5. That is based on Destination Analyst and their visitor profile, with 36% staying overnight, again, coming from the same report, and the length of stay of 2.2 nights. So so you take that 50,000 people, and basically what that would do is that would give you 20,000 unique parties, who then, of which 7,200 of those are unique overnight parties, and they stay, and then with an average stay of 2.2 nights would be roughly 15,000 room nights. So there's a method to the madness. And again, we use third-party research to kind of set the stage for everything. And again, when I go back and look at a 3-year history on Category 1, the average attendance, and again, keep in mind, this keeps in COVID. So that really impacted 2 of our Category 1 events. But the average attendance over that time period was 57,000, and average room nights was right at about 19,000. So some closeness to that. So what I did is, again, using the same formula for each of the different categories, went through. So on category 1, to go with 50,000 attendance, or, and that was again something we talked about at the last meeting, or generating 15,000 room nights. On category 2 is looking at an attendance over 15,000 or generates over 4,500 room nights. Again, looking at history, that would go through on category 2, and we've looked at roughly about 4,200 room nights. So again, I've got history and I've got data to go through and support that. The funding level doesn't change, still shows up to 75,000. Category 3 attendance over 10,000 and generates 3,000 room nights. And you can see what it was, 10,000 and 5,000 room nights previously. Category 4, attendance over 7,500, and the maximum funding level up to 15,000, and then finally the category 5, maximum funding level for a new event would be up to 15,000. I throw that out there because, again, I think it gives us a basis to look at. It gives us some history. And then as things change, and one of the things I was talking internal with staff on this, because of the destination analyst data coming back from the research company, and because of the pandemic, I don't feel we have enough data there to look at just the event data. That's why I looked at the whole visitor profile. But over time, we're going to be able to pull that out, especially as we return to normal and we get more real numbers with that, then we'll be able to readjust those numbers upward. And again, we may see where we have a longer length of stay or a shorter length of stay, a variety of different things. But again, there's a method to the madness. So I know it was a lot that I threw on, but at least it started the discussion to see, for those that have been on this council a long time, you kind of know where we were. And for those that are new, this is all, again, some new thoughts on guidelines.
Questions? Enthusiastic endorsement?
Absolutely.
Okay, well.
I think job well done, Steve.
Yeah, you did a lot of good
Michael.
work.
I do have one.
Mayor Bujalski.
I was just going to say good job. And, given the last couple of years that I've participated in the subcommittee, the idea that that's all changing and that you all, as the experts in the field, are going to look and weigh against these categories, and then we as an entire group can question or whatever, I think is the best way to go. And I think it removes a lot of the politics out of it as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you for doing that. I sat for my first time on that subcommittee, and a lot of it just didn't make as much sense. And you just absolutely, I think, again, took the politics out of it, kind of kept it, with the impact and the goals and directives that we would have on sponsoring it. So I just want to say thank you. I knew it took a lot of time and a lot of input from everybody, but I think this was really smart. It makes a lot more sense.
Anyone else? Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you. This is really amazing for evaluating purposes. I think it's 1,000 times clearer when evaluating them, which is awesome. One question I have is just on category 3. It says "and" generates. Is that on purpose that the third category is "and," not "or"?
So what's interesting is that was a very large discussion that we had at the last meeting. Michael, I know the first two we said "or," but that one was an "and." Do you happen to remember the reasoning?
Sorry, I don't remember the specific rationale. Again, we could change it if there was a wish of the board collectively to recommend changing it to an "or," but I do recall that there was discussion as to keeping that one "and."
Okay.
Seems like it should be consistent. unless you can tell us the reason.
Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd recommend that we make that change and add the word "or," and I agree we should have it consistent. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
I agree.
Make a motion to add the word "or."
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to edit, to delete and replace with or. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So let's do that. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposed? Show that passes unanimously. And then Steve, I don't think he was preparing to take a vote on this today, but are you wanting to take a vote? Well, that was for the edit. That was for the edit.
Whatever the pleasure of the board is, again, I know we've had a lot of good discussion on this. I just, again, the next step I was looking at is to take all of this, wrap it into one final document, and without the red line, you guys have it, and really it becomes a quick vote at the next meeting. Or if you like the direction that we're going, and, Michael, if
And one other thing I might add, we can look at our notes collectively and see if we can get a better explanation as to why that was kept an and, if we've got that in our notes, and bring that up the next time in case the board collectively wants to reconsider changing that and from an or, back to an or, from an or back to an and. So we can do that if we bring it back.
All right.
Is there any need to pass this today? You were planning on it for February, right? So.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think the next step for us, once it passes this group, is then forward the recommendations to the BCC, and then get that approved, and then from there, we get the applications out. But keep in mind, we don't have to do a step now because of the change with us coming back with the recommendations, so that'll kind of help with the process.
So the staff plan is to bring it back clean version in February, unless there's a dying need by the board to want to go. All right, I'm seeing head shaking no. All right, we'll bring it back in February clean, ready to pass quickly. I'm sorry, did I see a hand over here? Mr. Smith.
Just one question. When are the applications due? What is the start of the process for an applicant?
It is.
Currently, it's March, Steve, but
Okay,
I was
there
going
we
to say,
go.
yeah, currently it shows as March, but that could be something depending on, since we've removed that step, whether we want to move that back to April or when it passes here, so.
And again, I was going to say April, again, we'll have more time, to get this out to everybody. The other thing I wanted to mention too, and is in the process, we want to make sure we have the appropriate time to review, because again, we're going to have a lot more time with that, A. And then B is to, again, let more folks know that this exists, that's out there. And then 3 is, again, based on discussion, is build it into our budget. Again, we looked at this last year, I think we awarded less than $1 million, but yet we could go up to 1.5, is, budget the full 1.5, and we'll see what we get back. And we kind of go from there. So I think we're timing-wise, we're going to be okay. And the only other person I would ask is Terry, are you okay with all that, timing-wise?
Yes.
All right.
Mr.
All right.
Kimball, you had a question?
I was going to ask about the BCC, timing-wise for them, and have they been in the loop at all on this? That we feel that they're going to be comfortable too with these new amounts and numbers?
Have not briefed them yet, but I think, getting Commissioner Eggers serving on it before, I think being fine with it. I think when we lay out the plan and it makes sense, I think we'll be fine. And I'll look at the chair and see if there's anything that he's heard either.
No idea.
I think it modernizes it.
Yeah,
Steps it up to.
I think when it comes with this kind of, when there's changes, whether they're major or minor, when it comes with enthusiastic, unanimous, not a 7-6 vote, I think the commission responds well to what the council recommends. Commissioner, did you have something? No? Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hayes, remind me, did we put out all the money that we had allocated for this fiscal year for elite funding?
So for our budgeted amount, the answer is we still had some money that was not allocated because, an event didn't happen.
Right.
So there was a little bit of that. I don't recall the difference in that number, but it was not at the $1 million level that we had originally budgeted.
And whatever is left in that account, does that roll over to the subsequent year?
Well,
or the next year?
It rolls over in terms of, it's dollars that are available to spend. What I think what we talked about, or at least even internally what we've talked about, is we will increase our budget, and hopefully we have additional recipients that meet that. But then, like everything else, if it doesn't happen, then that money becomes available for other use.
Mr. Henderson.
The current TDP plan allows up to $2 million funding every year. So as he says, it doesn't roll over, but each year we can budget up to $2 million according to the Tourist Development Tax Plan.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, very good. That discussion was good. Item number 8, the President CEO report. Mr. Hayes.
All right, I've got a couple of things here. All right, let's see if this works. All right. Believe it or not, it's January. We're 5 months into the fiscal year, and we're already talking about next fiscal year. So the budget kickoff was on January 7th. And what I just wanted to give you guys the timeline of when we got to have everything. We have to turn our budgets in February 28th, so we have roughly about 5 weeks, 6 weeks to get that done. So Terry thought she had some time to work on other things, and now all of a sudden we're back to budget a few weeks early. A couple of key dates is, again, February 28th. On April 19th, we'll be meeting with the county administrator. On April 20th, that is our April TDC meeting, that would also be our budget workshop. So we would go through and present everything to the TDC that we're looking at doing for fiscal year 23. June 15th through the 17th is one of those days or time periods would be our presentation to the BCC. And then in September, budgets are approved and then we go forward. What I wanted to do, and again, it's just more open discussion, is as we start our planning, and our staff's already working on that, of what things that we need to do. Office of Management and Budget has given us some outlines of really what we need to consider, in the same thing with County Administrator. But is there anything that we need to be looking at that you would like to see maybe addressed that has not been addressed previously in the budget or the plan or the discussion? Because again, I know in the past, you had the budget meeting and then finances really weren't discussed. So I'm trying to get more of this in there. So if there are things that we need to be looking at, things we need to be considering, I certainly want to go through and do that. And I do want to add, because of strategic plan, there will be some things that'll be in the budget this year that have not been in there previously. So that'll kind of come into play as well. But again, if there are considerations, please reach out to me. Again, we need to get everything down that we need to go through that's going to hit those those priorities. Questions on the budget timeline for next year? So April 20th, make sure you put that one in red pen, gold, and we'll have a quick meeting, normal meeting, but then we'll get right into the budget discussion. Yes, Mayor?
When will we be having the discussion about our strategic plan?
I'm glad you brought that up. Strategic plan, we have 3 workshops that are tentatively set up: January 31st, February 1st, and on the 31st, it'll take place in the afternoon at Innisbrook. In the morning of the 1st, we're going to be at the Epicenter, and on the 1st in the afternoon, we're going to be at the Serrata. I'll send information out on that. But basically, in that process, that's where it's kind of taking the discussions that we've had and kind of laying that out. Staff is actually having an all-day discussion on the 27th, and then from there, HCP will actually be going back and saying, all right, based on everything we've heard, let's lay this thing out and really what starts coming out of that, and then laying the priorities and things that we need to be doing going forward.
Are we attending those
Yes,
dates?
I will get invites out on that.
Yeah, because the 31st is coming up quick. And will that be the final? I'm trying to determine, at what point do we solidify the strategic plan and then the budget, as it relates to the budget?
The budget, since we have to have it turned in February 28th, I think is going to drive, there may be some placeholders on things without knowing it, because we may not have I know we're not going to have the full report by February 28th. More importantly, is I think the discussion on strategic plan is ongoing, because even once you get the framework down, and this is direction, this is things we need to be looking at, et cetera, there's going to be more discussions on that. That's why I want to have placeholders in the budget for those things.
Okay, thank you.
So along the line of the budget, we did include our financial statement for December, and this is for the first 3 months. I won't go into the detail there, because really, for all intensive purposes, we're just getting going in terms of the budget and expenditures. I did want to lay out that we are definitely seeing more return to what I'm going to call normal operations, where we're not seeing as many changes in cancellations of activities by the staff. In other words, things are happening. There are some things that are, like, for instance, ITB in Berlin was canceled. There was another big show that was canceled as well. But some of the smaller things that we're going to on a regular basis are still happening and still moving forward, where last year we were off and on. So I think we'll be back to our levels of expenditures based on the budget as we go through the year. If there are no other questions there, I kind of hit upon strategic plan. Again, I'm excited about where it's going. And at least, they gave an update the last meeting of some of the things that they're hearing. And again, I think the key element, and one of the things I've tried to share with staff is, think about our role in how some of these things come out, whether it's going through and talking about workforce development. While we may not be directly involved in that by working with EDC and our chambers, we could help with that. But what does that look like? There's a variety of things, but at least, looking at a bigger picture of tourism's impact in the community and the role of Visit St. Pete Clearwater and going through and doing that. All right, we go to destination metrics. And the first one, come on, there we go. First one is tourist development tax collections. All right, the graph you have in front of you, if you look at the blue, that is 2019, which we've all agreed has been the gold medal year, or the gold standard. The orangish, pinkish color is 2020. The dotted line is 2021. The black line is 2022. In the month of November, our collections were $5.4 million, which exceeded 2021, which was at $3.5 million. Year to date in fiscal 22, we are at $11.3 million. This is after 2 months, compared to $6.6 million in 21. So you can see the black line and where it is compared to all, the 3 previous years, 21, 20, and 19. So if I go back and look at, and again, because, folks will go through and ask the why, what's happening with that, our lodging folks can certainly help with that message. but part of it is that we're seeing that in occupancy, but we're also seeing a large part of it in ADR, both not only in hotel motel, but also in vacation rentals. And we're also seeing it when we get into some other metrics as well. So again, it's a huge jump. We're still seeing that across the state of Florida in other destinations as well. So it's not unique to us as Pinellas County, but you know, it's great to see that we're exceeding it by that dollar level. When you look at lodging, again, for the month of November compared to 20, the beach, both beach and inland are beating the November of 20 numbers. And then under ADR at the beach, it's roughly about the same as 20, and inland is down compared to November of 2020. All right, looking at on a monthly basis, this gets into the occupancy for hotels. Again, the dotted line is 2020, the blue is 19, and in the black is 2021. As you look toward the November-December time period, you can see that we're basically the same as last year in terms of occupancy for that time period. So it'll be interesting to see as we move through January, February, March of this year, the beginning of it, to see what happens. And then I'm even more interested from March, April, May, because we really saw the huge jumps last year. So does that continue, or does that start to slow down? As somebody said, we were talking, is there's more variety of options to choose from out there compared to last year. But we still hope that people discovered our wonderful destination and are still looking at coming back in 22. We look at vacation rental. This is occupancy. Again, the blue line is 21, and the orange dotted is 2019. And again, you can see the delta between the two. And then the last thing to look at is under visitor profile. And again, what I try to do here is, if it's in red, it's statistically there's a statistical difference there. So in daily spend, you can see it's certainly up. And one of the things I looked at is that just hotel? But what we did see is that spend was also up in retail. So you had it retail and in hotel. In restaurant, it was about even. In one of the other areas, it was about even as well. Under travel party size, we're equal to, and again, I'm looking at 19. I think one of the things that continues to blow me away is average time on decision to arrival in days. 61 days in 19, but only 44 now. So you're thinking in a month, in a month and a half, people are making decisions and they're getting here. It's that quick. Mean number of days and nights are roughly around the same. Percent that stayed overnight was larger in 19 than in 21. The average age is staying the same, but average household income is up significantly over 2019. And again, from this presentation, I try to take the information that Jeffrey pulls together and just pull some key things out of there. Next month, in February, we'll have a research debrief of where we'll go through the 21 numbers. Also look at a couple of other unique things that we have of looking at visitors, and that information that we're able to show what's going through and happening. Any questions on the destination metrics?
Yes, please.
Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hayes, could you go back to the slide that showed the difference between beach and inland? I'm surprised at the inland ADR differential. That's significant. And contrary to everything that I'm hearing as I talk to other operators. For Innisbrook, we were up 20% over our November 20 performance. Chuck, are you seeing something similar there?
We couldn't.
Yeah.
Your microphone's not on, or you're not close enough. There you go. Well,
Same thing, our sales are at record levels and our ADRs are.
Yeah, it just seems counterintuitive to everything that we're hearing and seeing that we would have that significant of a drop. Might be worth just double checking numbers.
And again, I'll go back and look at that. And again, this is coming compared to November of 20. The other thing I will throw in is, given this data set of who reports to Smith, there are a lot of lodging properties who get midweek business and non-leisure, but to rely upon that corporate business.
Right.
That right now is, it's reduced. And so I'm thinking inland, that really affects that part there. I do know in talking to a couple of meeting properties, again, the bigger properties I think are holding their own, but some of the other ones are not. But I will go through and double check the number.
Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
Yeah, while we're looking at this, and Mike is talking about where they are, meetings and conventions side of the business. What we've seen in December, it happened because of Omicron and all, that we've had some cancellations. Not some of the couple big ones, but a lot of smaller ones. But we've also had fill-ins that have booked last minute, and there's quite a few of those. But it's down a little bit, but February is I would probably say is probably up a little bit, that they moved or whatever it is, and some of them moved on to May and some off-season months. It's kind of what we're seeing with that, and so I'm asking anybody else if they see the same. I know around the state, I only say for Miami, I think they've gotten hit harder than we have because it's their prime season. Have you heard anything around the state also, Steve?
Just in the other day and picking up news, because, again, destinations releasing out how they're doing. Orlando seems to be doing very well, but again, leisure-based versus M&C or business-based. On the Tampa side, I haven't talked to Santiago recently to get more of a gut feel from them. I know looking at the Smith travel report for November, and I was just looking at Pinellas compared to Hillsborough, they were up like we were in, again, the 60s. Well, this is not for November. This was this would have been for December's numbers. So we were at like 66, 68%, but they were at 73% in occupancy. They are up a little bit, but for us, it was all right. I mean, we really did well there. Some of the other leisure-based destinations are doing well, but again, I think under the M&C side, or if they have business travel, that's where they're still hurting.
All right.
Mike, do you agree on what's happening in the business and the meeting side, or?
Mr. Kimball, I would echo your comments. We're still off, Innisbrook is still off on its convention and conference business. We are seeing the smaller meetings pick up, and we're seeing meetings for the back half of 23 and 24 pick up, or I should say the back half of 22 and 23. We did see a number of small groups move from January to March or April. Fortunately, we didn't get any cancellations. And I think I read that the peak for Florida is, if not this past weekend, this coming weekend. So hopefully that the rhetoric on the news media seems to have been reduced, and corporate decision makers, association decision makers, hopefully will have renewed confidence to start making these booking decisions.
So Doreen and I were talking a little bit earlier because you brought up, Omicron and I jokingly said to her, I said, oh, is this about 5G? Because interesting enough, on a call with our UK firm, they're asking us about flight cancellations out of Europe into the US because of the 5G controversy. And I was like, well, wait a minute, so if you can't get it from a pandemic, then you got the 5G. And it's like, anyway, and again, I think there's so many variables going on right now. I think you're right. When we peak and then it starts coming down, then I think confidence goes back up again. Here in a minute, I'm going to have Carmen from BVK come up, and I think she can talk about some of the things that we are hearing, at least through DA related to that. So. Again, I appreciate Russ, you, and Mike's comments on business, and Chuck as well. Going forward, for TDC meetings going for the future, we can say goodbye to this room. We will be meeting at a new location, and it is at the bottom of the agenda, and it's in the communications building. And so those that are familiar from previous TDC meetings when we were down at the county building in downtown Clearwater, you remember there's a parking area where you could park, and across the street, and Liz is going to make sure you have all the details so it becomes easy, is a new building the county has retrofitted to be able to handle workshops like this in a much more open environment, versus, if you all remember what the dais was like, it was hard cramming 7 commissioners up there, and putting 12 of us, if not more, was even more crowded. We don't have to worry about that. So again, that'll be where our meeting will take place in the month of February, but I did want you guys to make sure you have that change on your calendar. And I appreciate everyone adjusting to the afternoon on a Thursday versus a morning on a Wednesday. But this was a one-off. This isn't something that we're doing going forward. The last thing before I turn it over to Carmen is actually this weekend we have 56 customers in town. And it is all part of 2 meetings that are taking place in Tampa at the Convention Center, Florida Huddle and Florida Encounter. Florida Huddle is directed at international travel buyers, and Florida Encounter is directed to meeting planners. And Tampa is the host city working with, and these are 2 shows that Visit Florida puts on. We put together a pre-fam, had a great turnout. We've got folks coming from Latin America, the UK and Europe, Canada, and the US, and a great group of meeting planners as well. So we're excited to finally, in a major way, welcome customers back, but also in a trade show, be able to talk to our customers. So our team's excited, and let's hope whatever cool front that might come through, it come through Friday midday, and then that way it doesn't mess with the rest of the weekend. And then the last thing I'm going to do is have Carmen come up. And Carmen's with BVK. I know you guys have heard her before. And we have so much happening creatively, but we're saving that for another meeting. I just wanted to give you guys an update of some of the things that are happening. Normally I'd have staff give you a quick update, but however, Katie is on her 2nd month of maternity leave. She's got a month left, and then she'll be joining us, and I think it'll be back in time for the February TDC meeting. So Carmen, help us with some of the things that we've got going on and some key successes that we've had over the last month or so.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, and Happy New Year. We last briefed, I guess, during the annual meeting in November, and our media plans and things are going splendidly. But we're always looking at added value, looking at ways to tap into new partnerships, brand partnerships, to elevate the brand, to engage with our consumers in unique ways. So just wanted to bring a couple little things that we've got going on that we thought were pretty exciting. And it's great to hear this stuff with the airport. We did partner with Southwest. Southwest came to visit St. Pete Clearwater and said, hey, we've got a route into Cincinnati, which is one of our core out-of-state markets. We want to promote that route. What can you do to help us? So we got together, and BVK and Visit St. Pete Clearwater said, let's do an influencer campaign, and we selected 3 influencers that were based there in Cincinnati, and had them come into market and promote what it would be like to have a fall getaway and, of course, fly on Southwest. The campaign went very, very well. We were very pleased with the results. We had over 5,000 engagements from these 3 influencers. Over 60,000 fans were reached, and our engagement rate was 8.3%, and that far exceeds what we typically see between 2.5%, 3%. So we were very pleased and had a great ROI that we were able to return on that one of 187%. So another overlay into one of our key markets, Cincinnati, which was a great thing to do. Another, when it got nice and chilly in December, we partnered with iHeart and a station there, and we did a whole takeover. We did radio, digital, social, promoting our nice warm weather, our palm trees, reasons to come south, and also sponsored Zoo Lights. Lincoln Park has an event where they light up the zoo and invite everyone in, and we were there. We went with the Visit St. Pete Clearwater activation team. BVK, we went in. We greeted 20,000 visitors on one weekend on a nice, cool, chilly night, and we had our tent displayed with our pretend palm trees, and we had heaters in our booth, and gave away swag from St. Pete Clearwater, and had almost 1,000 entries into a sweepstakes. So another way, that again, we took advantage of that weather, went into a key market, into a fun event, and on that one we had 4.9 million impressions and 159% ROI. So just a couple of little things that we have ongoing. We started 2022 off with a great start. We partnered with a brand called Adventure Cities. This is a program that airs on Discovery and on Outside TV. They came in and shot for about a week here in the destination, highlighting all the things that are adventurous. Great shoot, and we're really looking forward to sharing all of that with you very soon, all the details and outcomes from that shoot. Now, on the creative front, BVK has been working collaboratively with Visit St. Pete Clearwater to come up with a new brand campaign. We've got 2 concepts that we're working on, and currently Destination Analyst, which you guys are very familiar with, is doing one-on-one surveys, interviews with a variety of folks to get their feedback on these 2 campaigns. What we're hoping to get soon, probably in the next 3 weeks or so, is all the input from those interviews to tell us which campaign we think will resonate best with our audience. Also, we'll get insights into tweaks and shifts that we may want to make it as impactful as possible. So again, something else to hopefully to share with you guys soon. Now, as you may remember, the plan that we shared with you in September, and then again at the annual meeting in November, was for the first 6 months. We wanted to be able to be nimble for the back half, knowing we have these market conditions, say, COVID, and we wanted to be able to have the flexibility to adjust if necessary. So Miles and BVK we're both working on our media plans that will take us from April through to September. And the good news is we've got some new data that I think you guys were all talking about that we've seen through the Destination Analyst sentiment survey that they do every couple of weeks. They field this. Some good news is that 73% of people are excited about travel. They're excited about traveling in the next 6 months. 12 months. We've seen that right now people are canceling on the leisure side as well. We've had, say, almost 60% of travelers postponed upcoming trips, and almost 50% canceled a trip. But that's not precluding them from wanting inspiration and wanting to think about future travel. And fortunately for us, the top 3 activities that people want to do when they travel: enjoy scenic beauty, they want to do outdoor activities, specifically warm weather, and they're interested in road trips. So for us, as we're doing our media planning, as we're looking at our messaging, we definitely want to inspire, and we kind of have the advantage because we have this lovely product to share with them. And another good thing I think we are all hoping for too is that last year, one quarter of Americans used all of their vacation time. That's it. So hopefully we'll have some pent-up demand also that we can tap into. So that's what I have.
Anyone have questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think you guys will be happy with the direction that we're going. They've really presented a couple of cool ideas for the spring, or for the summer and the fall. And again, some of it is things that we normally would do. Some of it's going to be things that are certainly out of our comfort zone. But again, it gets, I think, us visibility in some key markets like Indianapolis. And that Midwest. So the last thing I just wanted to cover, and this is more of a congratulations, but we had an email yesterday from our good friends at TripAdvisor, and on that they gave us a heads up, which I know is now out there in the media, that the number 6 best of the best trending destinations in the United States in 2022, as decided by the readers of Travelers from TripAdvisor, was none other than Clearwater. So, Mayor, congratulations. We were too. My heart jumped when it came out because I thought they were going through and doing beach, and I had to verify that no, this was something new. So we're able to add that to our repertoire of what this destination does. And now we just sit back and wait and see what happens on the beach side. But again, it goes back to the awareness of folks of what they find here in this community. And so congratulations. It's a great honor for your community. And Mr. Chair, that's all that I have.
Thank you very much. Item number 10, board member comments or discussion. Anything for the good of the order? Yes, sir. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over the last 2 days, Mr. Prather and I had the privilege of attending the Florida Tourism Day in Tallahassee. We were able to meet with probably half a dozen different legislators, both from the House and Senate side, and everyone was very high on Pinellas. Probably the point that we tried to drive home with each of them was to get their commitment that they would continue to support the reauthorization of Visit Florida for another, up until 2028. There's another proposal that would take it out to 2031, which I don't think will pass, but we got thumbs up for everybody for 2028. And we're hopeful that this will once passed, this reauthorization will not be a normal thing. It'll just be a continuance of the great work that Dana Young and her team are doing. This was organized by the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association. They did an excellent job representing all of our hotels, restaurants, and attractions. Chuck, anything you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mike. It was an enjoyable, long trip to Tallahassee. Thrilled as to piggyback on what Mike said. Passed House Committee yesterday, so it does look like now they'll go in and reconcile Representative Cheney's bill with Senator Hooper's bill and put it together. It'll probably end up at 2028 authorization extension. So then I assume we're going to end up with a $75 million funding again going forward each year. So thrilled.
We appreciate you all representing up there, and that certainly sounds better than where it was just a couple of years ago. So good news. Mayor, did you have something? Oh, and Chuck, any trip to Tallahassee is a long trip to Tallahassee. So anyone else? Just a couple notes. One, I want you to introduce Courtney Vanderberg, my commission assistant. If you need to reach me, there's Courtney. Steve mentioned the new location. It's we're tentatively calling it the Palm Room. If you enter, you can enter the building through Palm Street and Chestnut, there, right across from the courthouse. The news release just before we sat down was that Major League Baseball has rejected the Tampa Bay Rays' proposal for a split season with 2 different cities. So for whatever that will mean for us, you know as much as I do right now. So, and with that, we are at 2:30. I know Eggers never got you out of here in 90 minutes. I know that never happened. So we are adjourned. Thank you very much.